If you were dropped into a real Ice Age winter tonight, you would be eating another human being before the snow melted. Not because you're evil, because the cold breaks the body first, and then it breaks everything else. First, your body eats its own fat. Then it starts on the muscle, your arms, your legs, your heart. Your fingers stop working, your wounds stop closing. You stop feeling the cold, which feels like mercy, and is actually the end. And somewhere in the third week, the part of your brain that holds the rules, what's allowed, what isn't, goes quiet. For almost all of human history, winter was not a hard season. Winter was a death machine. This is what ancient humans actually did to survive winter famine. And by the end, you'll understand why it's still inside you, in things you feel and never chose. The people who lived through the worst winters weren't the strongest. They weren't the kindest. They were the ones who stopped saying no. They did the things you've promised yourself you never could. Not because they were monsters, because the other choice was watching their own children stop breathing in the dark. So they chose. Again and again, every winter, until the choosing was just who they were. It starts with the things that are technically yours. The hides you sleep under, the leather cords that hold your tools together. You boil them for days until they turn into something your stomach can keep down. You crack every bone in the camp and suck the marrow out. You boil the hooves into a thin gray glue and you drink it. Then you go outside and you start eating the trees. Across the frozen north, people stripped the soft living bark from under the surface of pine, dried it, ground it, and baked it into a flat, bitter bread. It barely feeds you, it just quiets the screaming in your gut for one more night. People did it for thousands of years in every cold place humans ever tried to live. Here's the receipt. When a body starves, then eats, then starves again across a single winter, it leaves a mark, a hard line laid down inside the long bones. Archaeologists call them Harris lines. X-ray the skeletons from hard winter sites and you see them stacked like tree rings. Each line is one winter a person almost died and didn't. Think about that. We can count in a stranger's leg bone the exact number of times the cold tried to kill them. And bark bread was the gentle part. There is not enough food for everyone in the shelter. There never was. So someone has to decide who eats. You don't say it out loud. You give the strongest hunter the most, because if he dies, everyone dies. And you give the oldest woman the least. She knows what the small portion means. She handed out that same small portion herself in some other winter a long time ago. The very young and the very old go first. Not killed, just last in a line that runs out. The receipt is in the teeth. When a child survives a starving winter, the enamel on their teeth stops forming, then starts again, leaving a permanent groove. Pull the teeth of ancient children, and you can read their winters like a calendar. This old when the food ran out, this old when it ran out again. And on some of them, the grooves just stop, because the child did too. And here's the part that should haunt you. We find those children buried with care, with beads, with red ochre laid over the body like a blanket. Whatever these people did to survive, they grieved the ones they couldn't save. The love and the brutal math lived in the same shelter at the same time. That's the thing to sit with. Not that they were cold to each other, they weren't. And they still had to choose. But in the deep of winter, you couldn't even bury them. The ground freezes to a depth no stone tool can break. It turns to iron. You can build a fire on it for a full day and barely soften the top. So when someone dies in the dead of winter, you cannot put them in the earth. There is nowhere to put them. So they stay. The dead stay with you in the shelter through the long dark, wrapped, set in the cold at the back of the cave, waiting for a spring that is months away. You sleep beside your own. We know this because of how the graves cluster. At sites across Ice Age Europe, archaeologists find people buried together at the same moment when the thaw finally came. A whole winter's worth of dead going into the ground at once. At Dolní Věstonice, in what is now the Czech Republic, 3 young people were laid in a single grave covered in red ochre 26,000 years ago. The winter kept its dead and handed them back all together. Picture sleeping a season beside the people you lost, getting used to it. That changes what a body is to you. It stops being a person and starts being something else. And once a body has stopped being a person, the last line gets very thin. In a cave in the west of England, Gough's cave, people died about 14,700 years ago. And then something was done to their bodies. The bones say it plainly because bones don't soften it for you. The skulls were cut. The flesh was stripped with stone tools, the same careful way you would butcher a deer. The long bones were cracked for the marrow, and the tops of the skulls were trimmed, cleaned, and smoothed at the edge, into cups. This isn't a story someone told. It's cut marks under a microscope, matched to the marks butchering animals leaves behind. We know they did this. What we don't know is the part that haunts the people who study it, whether it was the last act of the starving or something done with love, eating their own dead so the dead stayed inside the living. Probably it was both. When there is nothing left and someone you love has already died, those two things stop being different things. You want to believe you'd have starved instead. Warm, full, sitting where you are right now, you're certain of it. You wouldn't have. Nobody who survived did. The people who said no didn't leave a record, because saying no in the 4th month of winter meant you didn't leave anything at all. So here's what you have to sit with. Every single person in your bloodline, every one going back and back into the dark, made it through winters like this. Not most of them, all of them. A single ancestor who starved with dignity instead of doing what it took, and you are never born. Which means somewhere behind you, someone ate the bark. Someone handed the old woman the small portion. Someone slept beside the dead all winter. Someone, maybe, did the thing in the cave. You are not descended from the people who starved with dignity. You are descended from the ones who did what it took. That is the only reason you're here, and it's still in you. Firelight settles you down to the bone, because for 10,000 winters, fire was the line between morning and never. The dark puts you on edge, because the things that took the weak came when the fire died. That's not superstition. That's them, still in your body, still flinching at the cold. And if you had lived back then, you would have done the same.